Call the Maverick County Commissioners Court meeting, special meeting to order. Today is Thursday, June 26, 2025, and it's 12:30 p.m. There has been an establishment of quorum with all members of the court present, for the exception of Commissioner Ramos, who will not be able to assist today. We'll go ahead and proceed with citizens' communications and recognitions. We do have one citizen communication form that's been submitted by Lieutenant Joshua Cruz. Mr. Cruz, if you can just approach the podium. And I just remind you all, of course, if you can just make sure and speak into the microphone and identify yourself prior to the 3 minutes that you'll be presenting before the court.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joshua Cruz. I'm the Assistant Warden at the Maverick County Sheriff's Office. I come to relay a message that, unfortunately, the Sheriff, Maverick, he was unable to make it today. He did have an unexpected doctor's appointment that he couldn't get out of. He was told last time that the meeting, he had made arrangements to attend last meeting, which was supposed to be, according to him, on last Friday. But unfortunately, it was rescheduled, or there was some sort of miscommunication on that end. But yeah, he will make all necessary arrangements to attend the following meeting, the next meeting after this one. And with that being said, I would like to yield the rest of my time.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Proceed. There are no further citizens' communication forms on the item. We'll go ahead and proceed with consent items. Consent items have been provided for the court for review. There are items 1 through 21. I believe that there has been some modifications that we'll need to do. I'll be withdrawing item number 3. There's been a double set on that item. Item number 11, I believe the Commissioner has requested a withdrawal on that item. Is that correct, Jessica? Yes? Okay. And item number 15, is that correct,
yes.
Commissioner? You're going to ask for that to be placed in open session?
Yes.
Okay. So item 15 will be placed into regular session, and I believe the only thing there needs to be a modification on the item number 19, which states the sponsor on there, which would be Commissioner Rios, not Commissioner Ramos.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
So with that, is there a motion to... Yes.
Just a minute. I have concern with item number 9. The public hearing on the speed bumps. That I'd like to discuss.
In open session?
Yes.
Okay. We'll place item number 9 in open session and item number 15 in open session. With the withdrawals that have already been mentioned, withdrawals are item number 11 and number 3. And number 19, there's just a correction on the sponsor for that to read Commissioner Rios, not Ramos, on that item. Can we amend item number 19 just to read the correct sponsor on there? Is there a motion? Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ruiz. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Correction has been made on item number 19 to read that is being made by Commissioner Rios. Okay. With that being said, items number 1 through 21 are ready to proceed with approval for the court's consideration, for the exception of number 9, 15, that are being taken into open session, and number 3 and number 11 that are being withdrawn. Is there a motion to approve the items that are being presented?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. There's a second by Commissioner Ruiz. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Moving on to item number 9. In discussion and appropriate action to publish notice and set a public hearing to set up speed bumps at 1091 Ritchie Road. Commissioner Reese?
See, yes, sir. The question that I have, I guess it pertains to legal process. We've discussed this. I want to know if we have established a process on how to go and have the public hearings. Insofar as that the county has already had a mode of operation for the speed humps, is that we request 10 signatures from that immediate community, and that would validate for us to come and put it in Commissioner's Court. And most of the times, I would say 100% of the times, it gets approved. Now, the public hearing is the new part that we've never done before. I just want to know, Judge, if we don't have, how we're going to go about establish a mode of operation to establish the public hearings, because I know they'll be coming.
Correct.
And the community needs to know also that we change the direction in this particular manner.
Sure.
Mr. Grove?
So what question would you like me to answer? Just to kind of go on what you're saying, I think petitions are a perfect way of continuing to do that. If you've got petitions that people live in there, it's the area where the public county road is. Having that continue is a good process of doing it. And then once you get that petition, then you submit to request publishing notice for the public hearing as required by the Transportation Code. And you have to set the public hearing no later than the 7th day before, 30 days prior. So you set the public hearing, and I would submit in that public hearing the documentation, the petition of the landowners as your backup documentation showing that they're requesting this traffic control or traffic calming device be installed in the county.
So would it be best recommended, Mr. Grove, in reference to that we possibly establish that in policy by this court first as to what the step is actually going to be? So right now, technically the policy is that they just need to get the necessary signatures and then they present it to the court for its approval. But now, of course, we're making sure that we're following what is the transportation code on that particular matter for any modification to any transportation, whether it's stop signs, yield signs, speed bumps, anything that's coming in for traffic purposes. On that particular matter, would it be best for us to adopt that first?
You can if you'd like to. I think continuing the way you're doing that now and then adopting later, but just keeping it saying you made a petition from the land from whoever is interested is asking for these regulations to be adopted by the county, and then set a public hearing. But it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a policy.
So let me just make sure that we're clear. 10. Let's just call it that it be 10 signatures. As it is right now. That's correct. So
yes.
That would be 10 signatures. After the 10 signatures are actually submitted to the respective commissioner, from there would be a review process for us to go ahead and set the necessary public hearing after how many days need to be out? Does it need to be out there?
The statute requires setting public hearing has to be. The commissioner court shall publish notice of the hearing in the paper of general circulation in the county. Notice must be published not later than the 7th or earlier than the 30th day before the date of the hearing.
Okay, so let's just say, 10 days prior to hearing. That should give enough for the actual purpose. 10-day publication notice prior to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I agree wholeheartedly with the recommendation. It's just that I want to see it
The
in black and
steps,
white.
yeah.
Let's put it in policy.
And I just want to make sure that I'm getting this properly so that at the next meeting we can just bring an actual policy for adoption or amend what we currently have.
What I would also check is when newspapers run.
Correct.
Like that'll affect the deadlines for filing whatever to get submitted. Some will
A 15-day policy I think would be more than sufficient. Okay. So starting 10 signatures, then we of course set a hearing 15 days before the actual commissioner's court for public hearing.
Yeah, and I would recommend also, it depends on the entity, because what if it's a school district asking for those to be installed, right? They may not have the signatures, they might be the principal or the chair of the school board. So it just depends. You might get a lot of requests for those things.
So we can incorporate that into the policy, that it be consideration based on the entity.
So then, can you help us write up the policy on this?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Okay. On this particular request, based on where we're at, I don't know if y'all have specifics on the actual action that's coming forth from.
I have a question in reference to that main street. There's already 2 or 3 stalls. I think it's 3, but we still getting petitions from around other residents that they need more, apparently because they're passing by. Yes. So, is there like a regulation of how many petitions?
So I think that we need to obviously take that into consideration within the policy as well for that purpose, because that also is an issue. The speed bumps, while it's important to maintain control on speed bumps also cause a concern for emergency response into certain areas and neighborhoods and colonias. So I think that we just need to take a little bit of this into consideration. I would recommend to the court that we get this policy presented by the next meeting before we can proceed with this actual action item, and then we can take the next step from there. I'm sure the commissioner wouldn't mind as long as we have something presented back by the next meeting. Is that amenable? You? Okay. So with that, my recommendation would be that there be a motion to brought forth for a policy to be drafted and adopted at the next meeting in order for us to go ahead and proceed with the next steps, and Commissioner Ramos can go ahead and see what the next steps will be for her proceeding on this item.
Sounds good.
Yes? Is there a motion?
Yeah.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Reese. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Moving on to item number 15, discussion and appropriate action to appoint Rurico Driscoll Jr. and Jesse Sandoval to the Board of Directors of the Maverick County Solid Waste Authority, Inc., in place of Denise Cantu and Rex McGrath, effective June 16th, 2025 through June 16th, 2027, as provided in Article 2, Section 1 of the bylaws of the Maverick County Solid Waste Authority, Inc. Commissioner, I believe that you had
Yes,
questions.
Judge. Okay, so I wanted to move in amending this number 15, this line item,
Mhm.
to switching, exchanging a name.
Okay.
Rurico Driscoll Jr., exchanging that name to Mr. Ronnie Scott Rivera.
Okay. Is there a motion to amend the item to make that modification to where that would be an appointment of Mr. Ronnie Scott Rivera and Jesse Sandoval? Is that correct?
Yes.
Very
yes,
well.
yes.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ruiz. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Is there a motion to go ahead and proceed with the items that's being presented now with discussion and appropriate action to appoint Mr. Ronnie Scott Rivera and Jesse Sandoval to the Board of Directors of Maverick County Solid Waste Authority, Inc., in place of Denise Cantu and Rex McBeth, effective June 16, 2025 through June 16, 2027, as provided by Article 2, Section 1 of the bylaws of the Maverick County Solid Waste Authority?
That's my motion.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ruiz. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you. We'll go ahead and move into items, regular items. Item number 22, presentation of fiscal year 2024 Maverick County audit by independent external auditors, Gastos and Associates, PC. If y'all wish to present. Hi, how are y'all? Good.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge Cantu, County Commissioners. My name is Alfred Vera. I am the Managing CPA for Cascos and Associates. I would like to thank you all for continuing to have us as your external auditors. With me this afternoon is Mr. Roel Cantu. He is our audit supervisor, and he was the audit in charge for your audit, and he will be presenting a few items through the report, and we will be available if you all have any questions. So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Cantu.
Awesome. And Mr. Cantu, there is no relation to the county judge, correct?
No, sir.
I just want to make sure. I want to have that on the record.
He lives in the same neighborhood.
All right, it's good having y'all back. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Judge, ladies and gentlemen of the Commission, and everyone in attendance. As Alfred just stated, my name is Roel Cantu, and I'm going to be presenting the annual financial report for Maverick County for the year ended September 30th, 2024. Before I begin, I'd just like to thank Ms. Barrientos and her staff for providing all the information that I had been requesting in such a timely manner. If it wasn't for there, I wouldn't be here presenting today, so thank you very much. All right, so let's jump right into it. In front of you, you should have a copy of the report that looks like this, as well as a summary packet that looks like this. For the purpose of this presentation, if you could, for the summary packet, turn to page 1. Everything that I'm going to speak about is going to be presented on there. So it's going to look like this one. Also, bear with me. We're going to do a lot of flipping. If you do want to follow along, this is the report that we're going to be flipping through. I've included page numbers in this summary page, so you can kind of reference everything that I'm talking about. All right, so on page 1 of the audit report, here you will see the independent auditor's report. This year, Maverick County earned an unmodified opinion. What that means is that the financial statements were presented fairly in all material respects for the governmental activities, the business type activities. It is the cleanest and most favorable opinion an entity can receive. And I really want to put an emphasis on the word earned. It's earned through all the hard work they all do throughout the fiscal year. So congratulations on that. We don't give out unmodified opinions to everyone. It's earned through your all's work. So congratulations on that. Next, on page 119 of the report, Here you will see the report on internal controls. What this report states is that during our testing of internal controls, we did not find any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. However, due to our limited scope of testing, significant deficiencies and material weaknesses still may exist. All that really means in a nutshell is that we can't really test everything. We can't test 100%. So based on the samples that we did select, we did not find anything that would be deemed as a significant deficiency or material weakness. Again, this is the most favorable outcome an entity can receive, so congratulations on that as well. Next, on page 121 of the report, here you will see the report on internal controls and compliance. What this report states is that during our testing of federal programs and state programs that were required to have a single audit, the county earned an unmodified opinion. So again, this is the most favorable outcome, so congratulations on that as well. So all three opinions were favorable for y'all, so congratulations on that. Next, on page 15 of the audit report, here you will see the balance sheet. Here you will see all the assets, liabilities, deferred inflows, and any fund balances that the county has for all the governmental funds. And it's as of 9/30/2024. For the purpose of this presentation, I'm really going to just focus on the general fund on page 15. Yeah, sorry about that. 15 of the funds. Yes, sorry.
This is the first time we've seen this, okay? So
Oh, really?
flipping back
Thank
and
you for
forth.
your patience.
Oh, okay.
Well, at least
Yeah.
for me.
I'm sorry, it's a lot of flipping.
Okay.
So on page 15 of the report, you're going to be seeing the balance sheet. Here you'll see, like I said, all the assets, liabilities, deferred inflows, and fund balances for the governmental funds. But for the purpose of this presentation, I'm only going to focus on the general fund. And at the bottom of that page, you have an unassigned fund balance. It's a $7,947,000 there at the bottom of the page. Think of this as a rainy day fund. These are funds that are not restricted for any purposes. And if the county has one-time projects that they want to pursue, for example, the purchase of desks, desks, chairs, vehicles, this is the fund that would be affected. Generally, we don't recommend for y'all to use your your unassigned fund balance, but it is there just in case. Now, the importance of it, we're going to see in just a minute. I just want you to keep that number in mind, please. That's $7,947,823. On page 18 of the report, here you will see this statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. Here you will see all the revenue inflow and expenditure outflow that occurred during the fiscal year for the county on the governmental funds. I'm going to focus again on the general fund. Around the middle of that page, you're going to see that the general fund had expenditures of $21,418,258. Now, if we were to get this number and divide it by 365, we're going to get a number. That number is $58,680. What this tells me is that on average, it costs Maverick County $58,680 to open their doors every single day, on average. And this is just for the general fund. Now, if we were to get the unassigned fund balance of $7,947,000 and divide it by this average daily cost, we're going to get another number, and that number is 135. What that tells me is that Maverick County has 135 days of operation. If for some reason the general fund were to stop receiving revenues, hopefully it never happens, but if they were, you have 135 days to operate the way that you currently are if you were to go fully liquid. Now, to put that in perspective, we generally recommend anywhere between 60 to 90 days. So as you can see, you all are 45 days above the maximum threshold that we generally recommend. So y'all are very financially healthy. So congratulations on that as well.
We actually went up from last year.
Yes, you went up from
So-
131, I believe, last year.
Let me go ahead and put that on the record.
Yes, it went up 4 days. So congratulations on that.
Great.
That pretty much concludes my presentation. Thank you all so much for your time. And if you have any questions, feel free to send them my way.
So I know that in reference to this, and in regards to the obvious, the purposes of the audit and the review, like I do want to thank you all. I know that we went through this in depth with the formal management request, and of course on the overall reviews for the comments that were made on this letter as well. In review specifically for the instances of the distinct expenditures that were tested, that were reviewed. And I think that it gives a good indication of the concerns, of course, that for those minor issues that we need to get adjusted with. Yesterday, I had an in-depth discussion with the external auditors with Castles and Associates and Mrs. Barrientos and Ms. Masuka to discuss what are the next steps for those concerns in order to address the measures for the financial side of the audit. While of course we came out with an unmodified opinion, which I'm very happy to see that we are all moving in the right direction. I also just want to make sure that we're planning on the steps of making that we are taking the necessary steps to fix whatever minor issues that might have resulted within those comment periods and those comments that were made specifically for that. In the discussions, of course, I think that there's just going to be some modifications that we're going to do with the deficit fund balance, as it's noted here, specifically on some modifications of some grants that were almost 15 years old that were reflected that we need to make sure and address within this management letter. Those will be items that will be coming forth, I believe, before the court at the next meeting as well. I think based on our discussion yesterday with the auditors. Correct, Ms. Barrientos?
Yes.
Very well. So on that, I think that we're definitely on target with where we are moving as a county. I'm proud to see that we are continuing to. We saw obviously less expenses last year that assisted us in making sure that we can move forward with our necessary days of operations for from the 131 to 135. Whatever it may be, that's still, we're looking at that and you're talking almost $60,000 a day in 4 days. That's a hefty little number that we were able to save within the last fiscal year. So with that, I appreciate the work that y'all did. I appreciate the auditor's department for working with it. I know that it can't be easy to go through so many documents, especially when you're pulling samples on different distinct areas. But I appreciate it on behalf of the court. I know that it's not something that's easy, but we do appreciate that we came out favorable and that the county is moving forward in a sustainable manner. Commissioners, comments?
For one, sir, I thank you very much for the work being done. By the way, on behalf of myself, make sure you say hello to Mr. Cosmos too.
Yes.
Well, the point of the fact is that the county has a favorable financial position. And I think the community needs to know that, take into effect, regardless of the different controversies that we might have in different directions, the county is in a favorable position. Of course, there's much to be corrected and worked on, but we are on our way to being that. Hopefully, the next fiscal year, and I think we can do better.
Correct.
The next fiscal year.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very well. Any other comments?
Yes,
Commissioner?
Judge, first of all, thanks Costco and Associates, the auditors, and everyone involved. I think it's teamwork as much as we argue because we don't get PO signed and we want to
What are you
get them
trying to
up.
say,
We don't
Commissioner?
want to get them
Huh?
done fast, but it all reflects when the audit's reported, and I think we're in a real good position, and the taxpayers need to know that. I do want to, Judge, I know that our next audit will be due September 30th, 2025. And I agree with you as the comments and the recommendations that they're making that we got to tackle this issue so that we get, even a cleaner audit on the next audit. Will the auditor be presenting these items to us as we move along so that make sure we can knock them out or is that something that
The
we have
comments?
to- Yes, the
Yeah.
comments.
No, and that's been obviously the discussion that I had with them yesterday in the exit meeting that we had with the auditing firm was based on where it was. I think the majority of these were all simple fixes that we had to do. So I think that whatever it is that we're presenting, I've asked Ms. Barrientos to present the items to me so that we can get these on the court and take the necessary steps to either make the modifications that need to be done on the ledgers that need to be cleared out, or if it's another issue that just needs to take a policy standpoint, then we'll go ahead and present it to the court. But Ms. Barrientos is already aware, and we had the discussion yesterday.
That's it. Thank you. Congratulations to everyone.
Yes,
All right.
thank you so much.
Thank you all.
I'm elated also about the unmodified opinion, which, the most favorable. So that means that we are all working, towards a favorable future. So thank you for your work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, that does conclude what is the presentation on behalf of the court. Thank you all for being here today and for presenting and for bringing us some good news. Great news, I would call it. Great news. Ms. Barrientos and, of course, to the team, thank you all for what y'all are doing over at the auditor's office. And I'll echo those same words as Commissioner Morales. Even though we argue, we get things done. Okay? So we'll move forward. Item number 23, discussion and appropriate action to accept the fiscal year 2024 Maverick County audit by Cascos and Associates, PC. Is there a motion to approve?
So move, Judge.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Morales. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you all so much. Thank you all very
Thank
much
you.
for being here.
May we be
Yes,
excused?
y'all are excused. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And if y'all are heading back, have a safe trip. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We'll proceed with item number 24, discussion and appropriate action on the presentation by Jaime Rodriguez regarding county health insurance. Mr. Rodriguez? I have none, so I don't know if there's anything here. Thank you.
Judge, Commissioners,
How are you, Mr. Rodriguez?
good. Congratulations on the unmodified audit. Great work.
Thank you.
I am here today to go over your health insurance, where you are, how do we get here, where we are moving forward. And I know there's been some questions that have come up in the county as far as has the insurance been canceled? Has it not been canceled? Are we, arrears and payments and so forth? So I'm here to address any questions you may have. And I'm also going to go through, why it is that we are in the position that we're in when the health insurance is taking place.
And members of the court, I just wanted to go ahead and just let you all know that as Mr. Rodriguez is proceeding with this, I've asked for this item to be placed on the agenda, or place this item on the agenda, just so that the court is fully aware as to where we are on this process. I've had a discussion, of course, with Mr. Rodriguez regarding the overall health insurance of our employees, which is of the utmost importance to me as a county administrator, and of course to commissioners, to all of you all as a court, to make sure that our employees have the necessary health care that is provided to them. They do an exceptional job for us every day, and I want to make sure that we continue to assure that or reassure our employees that insurance is there for them, and to clarify any type of miscommunication that may be out in amongst employees or even out in the community. I know that there's been some processes or some requests that have been submitted over to us that we've discussed in the last meetings regarding the overall budget amendments that we're looking to do. My issue here was making sure that we could get a set amount that is actually due, and to know why we are here and looking to make these budget amendments, the reasonings as to why those budget amendments are being requested based on certain claims that have been made through the county's insurance. Now, I remind everyone that the county's insurance is set at a self-funded insurance process that we have through this county. So therefore, we are normally on average set to look at this when we are paying at about approximately $145,000 every 2 weeks that are being paid into this fund to make sure that our employees have the necessary health care provided by this county. normally 120 or 120,000 are going in premiums. And recently we've been seeing, of course, our claims coming in at about 160,000 roughly. So I wanted to make sure and get this straight from the insurance themselves before we made modifications to our budgets, just so that you all were aware as to where we were at and as to what we were going to need to do to make sure that we covered the necessary expenses. But the first question, of course, that I have for you, Mr. Rodriguez, is insurance for Maverick County employees has not, nor has it ever been canceled.
That's correct.
It has not.
The premium's been paid every month.
Okay. And currently payments right now, based on the matter that where we're at, obviously we're looking right now at approximately about 587,000 that is currently due for the necessary steps. Now, explain, just so that we can have a refresher to the court,
Yes.
how this process works when it comes to what we're paying in. As I mentioned, 145,000 every 2 weeks. In that case, when claims come in, claims are evaluated, and then we get a reimbursement.
Yeah, we'll work through that.
So give me that step
Yes.
first, so that we can
Okay.
lay this out here.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me go to begin why we're having to have this conversation. So go through, Judge. I gave you all what's considered a shock report in here. It's called the claim shock report. And at the start of last year, when we went through the renewal, being self-insured, you get to either fund at an expected level or a max level for your healthcare costs. So at the time we came in last year, the expectations were to have one employee, maybe two employees, that were going to hit your threshold, which is a county responsible for $50,000 for each individual employee, and then you have a stop loss insurance that covers everything above the $50,000. And like the judge says, you do have to pay that. However, the stop loss carrier reimburses every dollar spent over the $50,000 limit per employee. This year, if you look at your shock report in October, we had one employee that was at the $50,000 threshold. In November, we had 3 employees. In December, we had 5 employees. In January, we had 8 employees. In February, we had 9 employees. In March, we had 11 employees. In April, we have 12 employees. And in May, to date, we have 13 employees that have hit that $50,000 threshold. So just in a sense, if you look at the shock claims report, as a county, you've paid $1.7 million in claims to date, but 13 employees have taken $1.2 million of that, with the rest of the county only taking $600,000. So when we fund at an expected level, what we're expecting for the county to average, but unfortunately it was, we had some incidents, and now we've got 13 employees that have been sick, and we have, I think, 3 that are still currently undergoing treatment that are still continue to come in with claims. So as we move on with that, there comes in that the claims need to be paid, and then they get reimbursed to the county. So right now, I put a report there. I checked as of this morning. There was due in claims is $587,996. There was some circulation of $688,000. From the time that number was given, that increased to $847,000. On Thursday, the county paid $253,000 towards those claims, and then we will pay another portion this week through a payroll transfer. That'll get paid down. However, we are in a position where 3 employees are going to continue to receive treatment. So with what we're funding now is not covering their treatments through it. So, when the budget amendments, we've talked with the auditors department, I've talked to the treasurer's department. So when it comes to the budget amounts or requests that they're doing, is they're foreshadowing on reports that I've given them of what the medical cost is going to be between now and, the end of the fiscal year. But with like I said, we are self-insured, so whatever the money the county pays into that, they will be reimbursed after the claims are paid and processed. Usually, a turnaround time is 10 to 12 days. We've been with the auditors. We looked at it. We checked it. 10 to 12 days, maybe 15 days from the time the claims are paid to reimbursement coming back. On our last report that I was asked, the county had already been reimbursed close to 680,000, with about 220,000 pending to be reimbursed. Over the next 10 to 12 days, which was last week. So those are reimbursements coming in. Like I said, those claims are still in the rears because they haven't been.
But I think that it's important to mention that as those reimbursements are coming in, they're still coming into one bank account,
Yes.
which is just reutilizing that same money
Right.
to go out for
Right.
for that process. It's not like that's going into the general
Right.
fund or anything.
Correct.
Those reimbursements, and I want to make that clear on the record, that they stay in that account
Yes.
for that purpose.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm in this process. I mean, as we're looking at this is obviously the amounts. I wanted to make sure that the court was fully aware, because as we're going through these budget amendments that will be more than likely presented to this court, I'm finalizing numbers. I've been reviewing this issue as the budget officer just to make sure that I can bring back a logistic or a realistic, I should say, approach. There had been some specific requests that had come in, or some recommendations that had came in from the auditor's office that I don't feel will be in the best approach for the county as a whole. But if it is necessary, we're going to have to revisit this matter so that I can fully give you all at least two options to make a decision from on the budget amendments. Okay.
Because I think we all have gotten a presentation by way of the auditor's department as to what is it. Here's what we need to do
Correct.
to come up with the totals. And in conversation with you, you're saying, well, there might be other options to
Correct.
other options to come out with the rightful payment. And I don't know what this idea that the insurance has been canceled. I mean,
Yeah. No. The premium every month. The premium has been paid. There was an instance, when we had a claims were very high. That between the time that we made a budget amendment, I think must have been in February, that there was employees that said, what, we're going to hold off because it hasn't been reimbursed. I received phone calls right away. I talked to the facilities. I talked to the physicians. I explained to them they were going through a process. Commissioner's Court was not going to meet until 10 days from now. There's a budget amendment to be presented. Then those employees were able to go in and get their treatment done. There has been a few cancellations for elective cosmetic surgeries that, for some reason they thought would be included in the plan that were not. So we do had some rejections for elective procedures, but those are not, covered under your plan. But as of now, I do not think anybody has been totally turned away. We had an even dentist in Piedras Negras who we're working with that also explained to him how it is, how the budget amendments work, how the time it takes to get the money due, and so forth. And everybody was understanding. And as of right now, everybody is on board. And I don't think we have any issues with any employees, unless you all have somebody. But I've been in contact with it for many more.
I haven't heard of anybody complaining.
So, do you have any, Commissioner?
Yes.
Do you have any questions?
When it comes to the incident in February, I received that phone call, Mr. Ruiz, and I made it aware to the judge. I called Mr. Rodriguez, and he was very quick and swift to fix that issue immediately. And that was a concern because at that same time when the employees were calling me that they were getting turned down, I wanted to know why. And I called Mr. Valdez, the treasurer, and I called him and said, hey, what's going on? He said, they're going to get the money. I wired it Friday after 5:30 p.m., but they're going to get their money and they'll get serviced. After that, I called Mr. Rodriguez and I said, hey, I'm having this issue. And two employees are calling me. And he said, let me handle it. And he handled it right away, and our employees got serviced. That led me to see what's going on. What's going on with our insurance, that our employees are at the doctor's office and they're being told, you know what, we can't. So I imagine that you did something to make sure either the payment went through or the claim money went through or that incident, but it got squared away, and I haven't heard anything since February.
Yes, sir.
But that's an issue that concerns me when I get those calls from an employees, and I'm just glad that we're bringing this because I know that our budget officer is going to bring two options for us to fix this. Um, he disagrees or agrees with the auditor's report, but he can bring two options, and then we decide which option we pick to make sure that this doesn't happen. On the last meeting, Judge made it very clear, and I talked to Mr. Rodriguez. The insurance for our employees is not going to get canceled, but yet I don't want to get those calls that I did in February saying, "Hey, why can't I get service?" And once again, I want to make sure that he took care of it right away. He took care and said, "Hey, Jerry, call those employees back. Tell them to go. It's been fixed." If it was a mistake on we didn't send the ACH on time or we didn't send the payment on time or whatever, that's not going to happen again. And he's made sure of that, and so has our budget officer. And that's something that we are in agreement that we don't want. The last thing we want is for our employees to be left without insurance. And I think under our watch, it's not going to happen. I think you've made that very clear, Judge, and I agree with you. We shouldn't let that happen. I'm glad that Mr. Rodriguez is here. I'm glad Judge brought this item, and we can discuss it and move forward with it.
And my issue, like I mentioned, Commissioner, that I think that is as we are working and as we're getting these budget amendments presented to the court, and at least moving forward with the best possible option for that amendment. As mentioned, and when we look at the number of employees that have received, of course, medical treatment. It's not something that has followed the trend, and we base ourselves when we're looking at the budgeting process. We base ourselves on the trend of the actual insurance. Unfortunately, this year, this is going to affect what is the next fiscal year, and how we're going to have to budget for the insurance for that process. So every dollar is going to count into the next budget as to how we're going to process this. So I just wanted to make sure that the court was aware and that you all received what was the information straight from the insurance representative and from the broker on this particular matter, so that we can go ahead and take those next steps in making an informed decision when it comes down to the budget amendment that needs to be presented to the court.
On the last thing, the advice of the auditor's office, we did request a foreshadowing of what the expected claims would be between now and the end of the year for those employees that are continuing to have your coverage, and that way they can present to you a realistic number of what we are to be expecting from those 2 or 3 employees that are still going through treatment. That way there is no speculations. We have a true number on what it is.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
So again, Judge, if anybody, has a question in regards to not understanding what the coverage is for something, they can just get in contact with Mr. Rodriguez, or how would we go about
So
it?
anything on the insurance concern for that purpose, they can come out. They can reach out to HR through Mr. Sanchez or Ms. Carroll at HR, and then of course, if there's specific questions, they can contact Mr. Rodriguez.
Sanchez contacted me right away.
Right away.
Okay.
So any question that may be out there, but I just want to make it very clear and very that we're all understanding that. At no point has there ever been a cancellation. Payments have been made due to the premiums every 15 days, every 2 weeks that we have to make these drawdowns for premium payments. So all of that is being pretty much done and adhered to with the necessary standards. We are not in a and we're obviously based on the trend and on the healthcare that certain employees may need. We may need to make some modifications, but as mentioned by Mr. Rodriguez, a lot of this is reimbursable to the county, and that's obviously funding that's reused within that insurance fund to keep that moving forward for them.
I just resent the fact that it was blown out of proportion. That it was canceled. It was never canceled, and yes, with even difficulties in trying to come out with payments, and it's just the demand is very high. The claims are very high, and if a person is ill or sick, well, we need to help as much as possible as far as our insurance. The employees and our employees need to be aware also of the fact that it's getting tighter. The fact that the demand or the claims are higher every time. You mentioned the number. It just something that is difficult to manage, and for the community to see that we're canceling, we never had. It's just that it's difficult to make payments, just like everything in our in our economic situation. It's more and more difficult to come out with payments, especially as far as medical help is concerned. But anyway, did you finish with your?
Yes. Unless you have any questions.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Rodriguez? No. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Excuse
All
me.
right, yes. So based on this matter, this is obviously discussion, just appropriate action on the presentation. I think that it's informational at this point, but I would go ahead and bring back, just for your all's information as a court, hopefully by the next meeting, which we are looking at having possibly another special meeting to look at this review for consideration of at least having two options presented to the court for its budget amendment, okay? That would not cause any conflict in this process.
No.
Correct?
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Very
Thank you.
All right. Being that there is no other action other than informational at this time, I'll move to item number 25, discussion and appropriate action to accept Texas Parks and Wildlife Local Park Grant Indoor Program Award and execute agreement for the Maverick County Nick Carr Sports Complex Recreation Center renovation project. Mr. Reese?
Good afternoon, Judge, Commissioners. This is the third grant that we've received for Texas Parks and Wildlife this year. Congratulations. More specifically, congratulations to Commissioner Reese in Precinct 4. This project is in his precinct, and it's going to go towards the renovation of the Nick Carr Sports Complex, the recreation center that they have out there that is currently being used to train local kids in self-defense boxing. The guy out there, Mr. Lara, he doesn't charge these kids anything. He volunteers out there. So we thought in getting with Precinct 4, the commissioner thought it would be a great project to help them out. There is some damage in that building, the roof to the facade. And that's exactly what this grant is going to cover, addressing the roof, facade, and any painting the building might need.
All right. Is there action to move forward with the acceptance of such, Commissioner?
Just needs to be mentioned that time after time, community members ask, that we should go out for grants, and we are working hard for grants. Even though this grant for Precinct 4 is small, in my opinion, $26,300. Half of it should come from the state, and the other 50% should come from us. So and I thank you for the work you're doing, and it would help a lot. Certainly, the particular area, the gym that needs to be replaced, the roof is just full of leaks and rains, and so it's improvement that we're trying to do here.
Well, I think that when we made it out there, Commissioner, for the actual site visit, it's in dire need of some great help. So I appreciate the work that you're doing, Isaac and Commissioner, the efforts that you were requesting to move forward with making sure that y'all could be competitive in that grant. So I think that it's going to definitely serve a lot of those young kids that are taking those courses and those classes, or just going out there and boxing for that gym. It'll make a huge impact and a huge difference.
No, absolutely. And I know it's a rather small grant. I think that did help us in securing the grant. The indoor portion of this grant that they usually have annually, it's not going to be around next year. It's going to skip a year. So if we won't need to make any planning in the next couple of years to fix some of these recreational facilities in our parks, we have plenty of time to plan that moving forward.
Very well.
Judge, I'd like for you, Mr. Reese, come at the end of the fiscal year. I'd like for you to do a presentation of the grants that you have made available to the county within this fiscal year.
Absolutely.
In conclusion, let's see what you've done so far.
Absolutely, Commissioner. That's something we can do.
Thank you.
All right. Commissioner, is there a motion for this?
So
Motion has been made by Commissioner Reese. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 26, discussion and appropriate action to open bank account for Texas Parks and Wildlife Park Grant Indoor Program Award for the Maverick County Nick Carr Sports Complex Recreation Center renovation program. This is a request, of course, as the auditors make sure that there are all bank accounts for these grants. What is the naming of this account that y'all are requesting?
No motion, sir.
Motion's been made. Second.
Second.
A motion's been made by Commissioner Ruiz, second by Commissioner Rios. Name on the account?
It could be a local parks grant, local indoor parks grant.
Local indoor? I'm not sure about this. He's here. Well, so Sophia, you're here, but you can handle that one. Local indoors.
It's for internal use.
Judge,
Yes.
quick question.
Yes.
Or maybe the auditors can. So when we open the bank account, Isaac, is that where we put the match, or how does it work?
They need it for their force account purposes, is what I understand.
Once we receive the award agreement or contract, that tells us how much funding is needed if we have to match. So with that agreement, we create the fund and all the line items needed. If there is a match that's required to be there, that's when we move the money to there and
Sure.
we come back for the budget amendment.
Okay. That was my question.
Further discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item moving forward, item number 27, discussion and appropriate action to approve resolution for fiscal year 26 Indigent Defense Improvement Grant Program for a public defender's office.
Commissioners Judge, this grant it wasn't produced by the grants division. It was actually the 293rd District Judge's Office that worked on this grant. It looks very good at the state level. And what it does is it creates a public defender office for Maverick County, including Demet and Zavala. It's a big grant. It's gonna have a chief public defender, managing public defender, a couple of felony public defenders, misdemeanor public defenders, paralegals, investigators, and caseworkers. So this grant will pretty much revamp the whole court system here locally for us. In reviewing the project, it seems like a great project to have, and it's something that I think that the 293rd Judicial District has been working to secure some kind of funding. I know we were meeting with them a couple of months ago about this, and in speaking with the state, they're very interested in Maverick County upgrading their system here, especially with the OLS and all the extra cases that we had just recently over the past couple of years. So we did need a resolution. They do have it in their desk. The committee is ready to review. I don't want to count our eggs before they hatch, right? But it does look very good.
Favorable.
We will secure this funding.
And I know that in the discussions, obviously, that we've had, whether it's been through OCA, the Office of Court Administration, together with, of course, the judge from that particular matter, and the requests that have come forth on the actual formation of this matter for the Public Defender's Office, I think it's an issue that's currently absolutely needed. I think that Maverick County is well overdue. I think that even, not speaking for Demet or Zavala, but we all, as our district, are well overdue to make sure that those public defenders are there easily available. Just in the process that we've been working for on the matters for the indigent defense coordination that we've had has been a tremendous success for misdemeanors and even on the felony side for the work that has been done from our end in getting that grant, which we worked on. But I think that grant has helped us put position ourselves into a level of making sure that we could get this actual office as a consideration through the TDIC or TIDC, sorry, Texas Indigent Defense Commission. We are in definite need to keep moving in the right direction. And more than anything, when we're talking about the form as a form of the judicial system, and as speaking as a member of the judiciary, it's something that is extremely important that justice and that the opportunity to assure individuals whom are going through the court system have the necessary access to justice and to legal assistance in that process. So I know that there are members here from the Public Defender's Office that are currently also applying through the process, and I don't know if there's anything that y'all would like to add on that particular matter for the purpose of the court. Is there anything specific that
First of all, we don't have very good financials.
Uh-huh.
I can speak from.
If you do, yeah, if you might want to come around.
Legal.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes.
I,
And you can just state your name for the record and
I'm
the
Rodrigo,
agency that you're with.
and I'm with TRGPD. I've been with them for 18 years. I started in Valverde County, and when OLS started here in Maverick County, Valverde County, and Dimmitt, Zavala, I moved to this area. It's a good program. Um, I can speak not the financials that we have now, but when we started in Valverde County in 2007, the first year we saved them 1.2 million on just the jails. We freed beds so they can rent them out to federal inmates. A lot of people were stuck there in the state with state jail felonies or state charges, and they're taking up space. Over 90 days, 180 days, so we're able to get them out, and then that freed up beds for the federal, and the county started getting money that way. But it's a good program to have for your people in Maverick County and Dimmitt, Zavala, and we hope to move forward as soon as possible. Right now, TRGPD is in between directors. That's why I'm here. If not, the directors would be here. But if we can move forward, the incoming director, will be a big part of being here personally and making sure everything is working smoothly. And I'll be here also to make sure everything is going to run smoothly. I have 18 years of experience, so I've already gone through it several times.
Okay.
But if anything y'all need, please let me know. The judge has my contact information. You can share it with the rest of the commission, and we can go forward with this.
Perfect.
So I do have a question here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the paperwork here. The cost is over $250,000.
Yes, sir. Your share.
And it's for 1 year.
Yes, it's for.
And so how is the money distributed in the three different counties? Or who gets the funds, or how is the fund
It's
generated?
regional public defenders to TIDC. So TIDC will pay 2/3 of it. Your third, that's your third, with Dimmitt, Zavala, and Maverick County together. And the TIDC will provide 2/3 of it.
This, of course, would be a split cost between the three counties.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Reese, is there anything further that we need to add on that item?
No.
Okay.
Unless
Any other
there's
questions?
I can see. Is it good to add that once with what you've been able to do for Valverde, freeing up the beds, we would be able to make that money right away by just freeing up our beds and getting
Federal inmate.
federal inmates in
I
there.
mean, that's how it was with already. The first month we were there, we wrote writs to get people that had been there over 90 to 180 days in jail on misdemeanors and felonies without bond or anything. So we got those out as soon as that came up through, or they came out. You know, the county opened up beds for federal inmates, and of course you generate income that way.
And I think that's the most key. Well, it's very similar to what we're doing with the indigent defense side and the appointment of the attorneys that are coming forth on the three courts. But this is really moving it forward because these are the set attorneys that are literally working these cases to get them out as quickly as possible. Timelines are key. And when we're talking about the judicial system, they're extremely key in order to make sure that there's not going to be an issue where we are surpassing the time of individuals having to serve, the time that they're supposed to report before a judge, the time that, everything has been very specific. And that's been something that I know that I've been working on my court system to get that to a level of where it should be, because, technically for years, it was never there. There wasn't even court hearings. So I'm grateful that through Texas Indigent Defense Commission, we've been able to establish something that's moving much quicker. But now looking at this public defender's office, we can do something regionally that's, I think, going to be more impactful for these three counties and with a shared cost, which I think is where we should be.
Yes, sir. And the big thing is, not only do you get when you appoint one right now with you just get one attorney.
Correct.
And that's it.
Yeah.
With our office and KDC involved, you get the attorney, you get a paralegal, you get an investigator, you get a social worker, you get multiple people on one case,
Yeah.
and it's more money or more bang for your money. You know, you're going to get more people involved and
good.
help the process along.
Yep.
In a good way.
Perfect. All right, is there any other questions? And I know with the caseload that we currently have, there's a lot that's going on. I'll be presenting some resolutions coming forth on those matters because I think not only from a misdemeanor standpoint, but also from a felony standpoint, you know, we're looking at our cases have jumped in numbers tremendously to where you know there's a necessary need for additional assistance, especially when it comes down to you know matters that may be specifically to the criminal court, to family law matters, to other issues that we need to possibly look at to even assist the district judges in the process of where we're at. So I'll be bringing some items to the court at the next meeting to discuss these issues and to review them in the next available meeting that we have. All right, with that, thank you very much for your information.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, is there any other questions? If not, is there a motion to proceed? Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second, Judge.
Second by Commissioner Morales. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item, thank you all. Y'all are excused if y'all don't have any other items. Isaac, do you have any other items? What other item do you have? 33? Yes. Item number 33, discussion and appropriate action to ratify and approve Texas Parks and Wildlife Program Director Carlos Herrera III, $24 an hour, counselors Norma Negrete at $22 an hour, and Jennifer Perez $18 an hour as temporary employees through the Community Outdoor Outreach Program starting May 28th, 2025. This is an item that was presented by Commissioner Ramos. Commissioner Ramos, of course, has requested that her items stay on the agenda to proceed with the necessary requests. And I think her staff is also here for any additional questions. But is there anything specific on this matter?
Yes, it's just setting the rates that we had agreed upon with those employees, the camp counselors. I encourage everybody to take a look at the Maverick County Facebook page. We've been posting stuff, and also Commissioner Olga's Facebook page. These guys are having, you know, the counselors, I can't say anything much better than the job they're doing. I mean, they're doing an amazing job out there. They've gone to several state parks already, multiple, I think it was 3 or 4 state parks. That's above and beyond that what we had stipulated in the beginning. They have several different activities, hikes, crafts. I mean, they're really going above and beyond. It was a lot more than I imagined whenever we were writing this application and putting it down on paper, and they've exceeded that. So I know we had a few discussions with the auditors about the pay and everything, but I just did want to say to the court is that they do deserve it. They're doing a really good job out there. And we just need to take care of this as a formality so they can get paid at the rate that they deserve.
Very well.
It should be a good experience for the kids.
For sure. No, and I think that just with what I've been seeing specifically on the matters from the reports that have been sent over to our office, they've been truly enjoying the activities that have been on there for this summer. Ms. Barrientos?
Just the date. The effective date would be today.
But I believe we were looking at this matter for the point of hire. Is that correct? Is that?
I believe so. I believe the commissioner wanted it to go to the starting date, which was the 28th of May 2025, and request the retro pay from the initial date.
How do we, Mr. Sanchez, how does that actually
I don't think
transfer?
we've never done retro pay.
You cannot do that.
No, yeah.
The auditor is correct. That's
Yeah. Okay. So specifically, this would be set for today's date from a legal standpoint on that issue.
It would be unconstitutional to work.
Okay.
Services already done.
That'll work. All right. So then it'll be effective then for today, June 26, 2025. Approval. All right. Moving on that item, was there anything specific for that, Mr. Sanchez? I know that in regards to that, their last payroll period was set by when?
Well, it's not retro pay, it's effective date. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. But they get started employment on May 28th. And due to the fact that,
It was my understanding, the way that the commissioner had explained it to me, was that the posting of that job was set at these rates. Is that correct?
it was the posting was, we had the posting with plenty of time.
Mhm.
The salaries that they gave us at the time when I posted, or my office posted,
Mhm.
it was different from this.
Okay.
That's where the confusion started.
Oh, okay.
However, it is my understanding, I was there at the interview, it is my understanding that, based on their discussions with the grant funding and so forth, the applicants were told at the time that they were looking at increasing the hourly rate. And that's where the discussion went back and forth. Okay? Now, I understand it can be retroactive. However, we have done it in the past using the effective date, and they did start employment on that effective date. I don't know if that makes a difference or not.
I'd just like to make a quick comment. I might have used the wrong tone. Okay, so.
Thank you. Do I have to say my sit on? I'm not. Yeah. Good afternoon, Judge. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I just wanted to state that I might have used the wrong terminology.
What's your name?
Oh, yes, my name is Mercedes Sanchez. I apologize. So I do work with Commissioner Ramos, and I've been handling somewhat of this grant that Isaac wrote, and we've been working with it. I might have used the wrong term, retro pay, but I believe that the original salary that was advertised when Mr. Sanchez did the advertisement was below this. But we were looking, the way the weeks were divided was having the program run all the way through September, the end of September, I believe. Once we got the award letter, they stated that we had June and July to complete and meet certain guidelines. So that is when we sought advisement and had to recalculate. So the original announcement was for 14, 12, and 11, I believe, but it had them working from the beginning of summer all the way to the end of September. Once we received the award letter, is that correct? It just said that we had June and July. So that's why there was an increase in what the pay rate should be. And these employees came with very many qualifications. They all have degrees and they all have certifications in what we were requesting. So that's why, we are asking.
I have some legal questions that I'd like to kind of take this for consideration. Since we're talking about personnel and matters on those issues, if we can discuss this in executive session, I would appreciate it. Okay.
That's fine.
All right. We'll take this item into executive session. Okay. And I'll go ahead and cite the codes once we move this into executive session at that time. Let me just make sure item 3, executive. All right. Proceeding into item number 28, discussion and appropriate action to renew the interlocal agreement for 911 public safety answering point services between Middle Rio Grande Development Council, 911, and Maverick County for fiscal years 2026 and 2027. Who's taking this item? Specifically on this matter. Is Middle Rio here? They're not present. Gabriel, did you have specifics on this matter? No. Give me 1 second.
It's
The renewal on the interlocal. Give me 1 second. Okay, so on this particular matter, these are obviously on the agreements for the 911 public safety answering point services. As you all are fully aware, the agreements that are set in place for the services and necessary antennas that are placed throughout the county. This is specific with Maverick County Sheriff's Office. It's discussing basically the inventory, security training, cyber training, and the overall operations of this matter for this purpose. This has been the standard interlocal agreement based on the public safety point services for the county. Are there any specific questions on this matter for this issue?
This is just a continuation.
Yes, it's a continuation of such. This is just signed on between
No
Middle Rio
changes.
and the county. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second, Judge.
Second by Commissioner Morales. Discussion. Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 29, discussion and appropriate action to renew Pitney Bowes postage contract. Before you all is just the postage contract that is set for the county. This is pretty much everything that is set up at the treasurer's office for postage that is provided to all county departments based on the necessary codes that are being placed in is how they get charged out. But this is our standard contract that we have with them. Billed quarterly at $1295.79. On that, is there a motion to proceed?
So moved, Judge.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second, Judge.
Second by Commissioner Morales. Discussion. Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 30, discussion and appropriate action to approve the agreement for energy conservation services with Marco A. Arredondo Inc. through the interlocal purchasing system, TIPS, contract number 210602. Mr. Arredondo, be care to approach the court there at the podium and just present some information if you have anything specific on those matters.
Good afternoon. My name is Marco Arredondo. I'm a registered professional electrical engineer. I've talked to Judge Ramsey and Eagle Pass Waterworks for years. My brother here, Danny Arredondo, is also a registered professional electrical engineer. Part of the reason that we're coming before you today is your energy contract is already expiring. It's up for renewal. And if you all have been paying attention to the news, energy is expected with all the AI and everything that's coming into the state, it's expected to rise for the next 5 to 10 years until we build a new fossil fuel power plant that's either nuclear or natural gas or coal, things are not going to come down. Our reserves in the state are down to about 20%, which is forcing rates to go up even higher. Right now, everybody has to renew their energy contract. Eagle Pass just renewed it. We did Webb County, we did Cotulla, Divine. We've done several cities, counties, school districts, Laredo College. And what's happening now is because we can't, like everything else, we're going to pay more whether we like it or not for energy. So what we're having to do, and that's where the engineers are coming in, we're looking at ways to try and conserve energy on your behalf. We're looking at your air conditioning system, we're looking at your lighting system, at your emergency generators, anything that there's programs out there that will give you money back from the state for reducing your energy. We're doing that as part of the service for reducing your energy contract. We're also going to go out there and audit every single one of your meters. I like that you got a good favorable report, because what we do is we go out there and we physically inventory in GPS and on a Google Earth map, locate every one of your meters and verify that they are your meters. We found that some people are paying for meters that really don't belong to them, and so we'll verify that, and then we actually input your electric bill for every meter every month so that you can look and see for that meter, like for this building, what did you pay last year? What did you pay this year? Did the energy go up? Did it go down? And if it went up, what went wrong? Is somebody leaving the AC on too high? And so those are a lot of things that people are having to do now to kind of offset the increase in energy. And so when we're talking to Judge Cantu, it's kind of, I told him this is kind of the approach now to what's happening out there. It's the only way you can bring your bill down. Like gas, when it goes up, the only thing you do is get a more economical car. And that's kind of what we're doing here. Those are the services we're offering to the county and what we intend to do going forward. For your emergency generator, I know you have some water plants out there. I'm trying to find ways to get people to pay for your emergency generators through the demand response program, install them and maintain them for you. All right, so that you have no longer a cost for the county. They do all the requirements of keeping them on when they need them. They work when they work. Because if you notice, a lot of times when power goes out, some things just don't come on like they're supposed to. The emergency generators don't come on. And so we're trying to really, really grind down, and we realize everybody out there, every city, county, school district, they're strapped. Everybody trying to save money. They have less people. But we're trying to fill in those roles with the stuff that needs to be done. And I was glad to hear that your auditor said you had a clean report. Our job now is to try and make sure that your energy is as economical as possible. And every year we'll come before this court and we'll tell you, okay, this is what you spent last year in energy, this is what you paid this year. You know, this is how much more energy you used, or this is how much you saved. Because not about cost is, did I reduce my consumption? That's the only thing you're going to be able to do to bring your energy costs down. But I know I give you a lot of information. In 2001, when Duretta started, energy was 4 cents per kilowatt hour. All right, and we managed to keep our customers almost at 5 cents. Now we signed 10-year contracts with some of our clients, like Southwood Texas Junior College, at 4 cents through to 2032. Well, those days are gone. Now we're at about 6 cents. We're trying to keep it in the low 6 cents and going out there 8 or 9 years on an energy contract because we know they're going to go up. And so if you sign a 3-year contract, and it could be back like 2011 where people were paying 14 cents per kilowatt hour because they signed short-term contracts. And so you got to have budget stability. You have a good surplus. You want to try and keep it. You know, that's our job, to kind of look at the energy, which is probably the next highest cost that you have next to personnel.
And I think that that's why, you know, in these matters, members of the court, I've asked and I placed this item on the agenda because as we're going into the budget cycle, I want to make sure that we can present numbers that are realistic within our budget. Last year, we had to make some additional modifications because we had some concerns with utility that we've had to make some budget amendments into this fiscal year. But with the month-to-month that we're currently going with our current electrical provider, which has obviously caused a concern for you all as commissioners, because if we don't have that contract, the actual energy provider is not going out and placing necessary street lights into your precincts as you all have requested. And I want to move this as quickly as possible in order for us to get this and to get options presented back to the court with a professional that has ultimately gone through the interlocal purchasing system, through the TIPS program, which is basically the buy board process. This individual has gone through that necessary process for him to provide us with options and for us to make that decision to come up with the best possible energy service for our county. I look forward to moving this quickly because I want to make sure that before we enter into the new fiscal year, we have a contract that is already in play and that we will be able to budget properly for into this next fiscal. So for that purpose, I think maybe there should maybe clarification when it comes down to the actual specifics as far as a payment for that purpose. Mr. Arredondo, I don't know if you can kind of specify that to the court as far as what it would be, the steps. I know right now, if given the opportunity to serve and to represent the county in this matter, you would basically need kind of first what would be the review of all of our bills, or the bill pretty much on this matter. You would review the meters, review necessary all the buildings, the usage of electricity, and then you would compare this, I imagine, with a number of providers.
We would actually we'd verify with your auditor, or at least the meters that you have on rec that you're paying for right now, and we'll actually go through there. And as soon as if we were elected to move forward, probably within 1 to 2 weeks, we would have. I guess we'd get preliminary quotes on what your budget's going to look like. Okay, then we'd actually almost immediately, once we get with Judge Ramsey or Cantu, then we would come back to this court potentially and say, okay, these are the options we have. But I'd really like to, once we get quotes, to get with the judge and say, okay, let's go out for a formal not RFP, but advertisement that we're going out for bids. And then that gives us 2 weeks. I think that's usually the legal requirement for a government agency. Some people say 1 month, but with you being month to month, if we can do it in 2 weeks, meet the legal requirements, then we'll come back and we'll have something to be able to present to the court. At that point, we'll give you all the options. You all can decide what you're going to do. Because if you're on month to month in the summer, you're bleeding.
For sure.
You're probably paying 2 to 3 times more for the energy than you should be. And so the sooner that we get under a firm fixed contract, the better off we're going to. And even if we find accounts that don't belong to you, the contract parameters that we use allow us to remove accounts that don't belong to you without penalty. So we'll take care of that in the contractual language. We take care of that whole process for you. And we do carry $1 million E&O, so I'm not going to do anything that's going to hurt me or you guys. We're going to follow up.
From a legal standpoint, Mr. Brooks, is there anything that we are?
It's gone through the cooperative purchasing process, so it's been bid out. These one bidders can select on there. Yeah, do you have any concerns?
My only concern here is that we do have an open RFP already. We just would need to bring it to Commissioner's Court and maybe just reject what have been submitted and then move forward
Open RFP for what?
for providers, for electric providers.
Well, I think the contract, you would also provide guidance on RFP selection of retail
That's correct.
utilities, so they could also assist in that process of evaluating the RFP under this contract, the way I read it.
So if they would evaluate the ones that we currently receive,
They could assist in that under this contract.
Yeah, what we would do is actually go out there, give them the parameters of what we want the county to have, for its electric energy contract. So we kind of be modifying the RFP, saying, no, this is what we want under that direction, to make sure we have all the right language.
So you could reject the RFP and then bring it back after he's getting some more.
correct, and that would be our recommendation. Whatever went out there, we already received some proposals, so just reject them and be.
You'll have to bring that back to the board, but that can be handled in the future.
My only issue is, and like I said, disrespect obviously to the department and what is being done. My only concern is that we have taken a long time to get something done, and I want to make sure that right now, with the expertise that Mr. Arredondo can bring, if we can possibly find something that's going to be cheaper, I just want to go that route on that issue, and that's going to be the best option for us.
And I would, the only other question I have is, in the terms of payment on here,
We get paid through the energy contract. All right, our proposal is to, right now, I believe we use about 2 million kilowatt hours a year. We put 5 mil because all the service we're going to do. That comes out to a grand total of about $10,000 a year for 2 professional engineers to do all the work we're going to do. It's kind of more of a service to the county. We're just making sure that everything's done right. We also handle Eagle Pass Water Works, so we're going to be here already anyway. And so it's just like when you look at like a pool. So we're just helping.
so I just recommend modifying the language to in an amount not to exceed. If it goes over that amount, you can bring it back to the second contract.
It says 5 mils per kilowatt hour, so it's not going to exceed that. Whatever the amount is that you use, it's.
Well, sure, but for her accounting purposes, she needs the actual amount.
Yeah. When I find out what your
But that is not coming through the county.
Yeah, when I find out what that actual number is, I'll be able to give you that number. I don't know what you use right now.
Just trying to read the letter of introduction here to us, and I just didn't understand the payment here. How much it was the payment? Trying to clarify that, and also, can you give us? Have you worked with counties before? I mean,
Yes.
what kind of experience do you have
We've
to
worked
bring
with
to
Webb
us?
County since 2006. We've worked with Cameron County. They recently had a commissioner's court changeover, so no longer work for them anymore. But that's sometimes it's not because of what we do. We have Laredo Community College. We have Southwest Texas Junior College. We have several cities. The city of Pharr, city of Edinburgh. So we've worked with several different government entities for long periods of time. So we do have that in our references, and that's part of the TIPS requirement.
I didn't read the references. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, it's because we were in a hurry, and I gave Judge Cantu a proposal so that we could have something to bring before the commissioner's court. But I can't provide the references, the phone numbers for you guys to call.
And as mentioned, obviously locally, he is servicing one of the
Eagle Pass
quasi autonomous, well, I should just say quasi side entities of the city, which is the Waterworks Department. And of course, he's been working with them, since
2000, since Roberto.
Yeah, since it's been since I was mayor. So we're talking years and years ago. But I know that the work that they did with the extreme usage of the water plant and everything that is going on, they were able to provide us with a substantial cost savings at the city when I was there.
We had saved about $800,000 a year for 6 years from their budget at one time, and we just, because of the rates going back up, we gave $300,000 of it back per year, but we're still ahead.
Very well. All right. So based then on this concern, is there any further questions of the court?
No, just again, it does
Yes.
read. I'm sorry. It does read that the 5 mils and it will be paid through the selected retail electric provider that we choose.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that's actually 0.0005 cents per kilowatt hour.
0.005.
5 thousandths of a cent per kilowatt hour. So and the you used it back in 2006 was about 2 million kilowatt hours a year. I don't know what it is now. I don't have that information yet.
Well, you know of this company then, John?
Yes. No, I mean they have a very reputable firm, obviously, that has been doing this for quite some time and have serviced the city of Eagle Pass through means of the departments of the waterworks, which is a major consumer of electricity based on the water plant. So that to me it was a huge savings that we had at that time, and I think that right now, my concern is as we're going through the budgetary process, I'm doing a full review on a number of distinct contracts that we're looking at, from energy to matters on actual equipment leases that we have, before we can present numbers on certain savings for this county in the
Especially
budget
the
process.
equipment that we have in our own water plant.
Yes, so we have a lot that
And,
we're
and
reviewing
that's
right
part
now.
of what we review because we're engineers. We do other stuff other than just the energy contracting. Waterworks uses about 5 or 6 times the amount of energy you do. We just did West Aquaisi, which uses about 10 times as much energy as do, a little bit more than that. So we handle some very, very large clients that need those services.
Okay. Commissioner, did you have a question?
No, since for legal, since we're going for energy conservation services, but it's going through the tips, we don't need to advertise. We can just go out straight hire.
Correct. It's already gone through the competitive bidding process.
Okay,
He's one of the presenters on the list.
that's my only question.
All right, is there a motion?
As a move.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Reese. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Arredondo. We'll get those agreements in place for you. Thank you. Moving forward, we'll go ahead and proceed with the next. Item number 31, discussion and appropriate action to transfer OLS BPU vehicles from Zavala County to Maverick County. This is a request that is coming forth from the district attorney. I believe that it's just a standard transfer from one county to the other.
Judge, I hope somebody would have been here to explain the situation.
I was.
Why is it?
Have you heard anything on that, Ms. Barrientos? On that, I know that I had received a
It is my understanding that since some of our staff here works for the 3 counties, they already have the vehicles. They're already using those vehicles. But Zavala County basically needs to get them off their books and their insurance. So if they do the transfer, we pick them up on our insurance. That's basically why they're bringing this.
So as you all can see, obviously the necessary title work and everything is being placed on this matter.
I don't quite know.
It's Maverick County employees
Yes.
that are Maverick County, from the Maverick County office.
Yes, from our Maverick County office, and they're having, they do the work in the 3 counties, so they're using those vehicles. They were purchased by the other county for their use. So basically, they're wanting them off their insurance, and they're having to do this, so we pick them up on our insurance. The vehicles are already being utilized by Maverick County employees.
Yeah, for instance, this is a 2023 Chevrolet Silverado.
I believe it's
one of the vehicles. There's
Yes.
2 vehicles,
There's,
right?
I believe so. I'm not quite sure on the number of vehicles. I don't have that backup. But that was my understanding when
Why don't
we
we
questioned this item.
Would you like additional? If we can have the DA present or his representative at the
Yes,
next meeting. Very well. We'll place this item for the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. We'll go ahead and proceed from there, and we'll get this replaced. We can just take note just for that item to be considered and reviewed. Item number 32, discussion and appropriate action to authorize the county to participate in CISA cyber hygiene services. Ms. Barrientos.
Yes, sir. This is a service that is at no cost to any department or to the county. It is an assessment of the network so that they can identify any vulnerability that we have. And this is being brought forth because of the incident a couple of months ago. So our recommendation is for your approval.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second.
Second's been made by Commissioner Morales. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 34. Discussion and appropriate action to recognize the appointment of non-paid reserve deputy constables in precinct 31, Gaspar Apolinar, who has met all prerequisites of law becoming a licensed Texas peace officer, as per the request of Constable Mario Hernandez. Questions of the court? Not, is there a motion?
So moved, Judge.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Morales. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 35, discussion and appropriate action to recognize the appointment of non-paid reserve deputy constables in precinct 31, Isais Apolinar, who has met all prerequisites of law to becoming a licensed Texas peace officer as per the request of Constable Mario Hernandez. Is there a motion?
So moved, Judge.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Morales. Discussion?
Judge, I think I'm going to do a little bit of research on the fact that as to how many deputies constable each one should have, and I mean, what is, if there's a limit that we can put there? It's I don't know what is it that they're doing. Maybe a roster of work they accomplish, or they try to accomplish. You know that. I'll come back with something in just for information
Point of reference.
purposes.
Okay. All right. There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 36, discussion and appropriate action in regards to jurisdiction of the water lines infrastructure at the radar base homes. This is an item that's for Commissioner Ramos. Jessica, is it something that you'll be taking?
Yes, she wants to.
If you can just come to them. Yeah. And I know that she specifically reached out and asked that we keep her items on the agenda.
Yes.
So that's why I'm calling on you. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Jessica. I'm one of the assistants for Commissioner Ramos, and she did ask if we can move that one to executive.
If the court is not amenable to any of these items, I'm sure we'll be able to reach out to the commissioner as well on that purpose. So, all right, we'll move that in. Thank you. Item number 37, discussion and appropriate action to remove a tree that fell over at residence roof trader inside property address 754 Lago Vista Drive. Commissioner Reese?
Yes, sir. I mean, I think if you turn to the picture there that we supplied, it speaks for itself. It's the tree is already on top of the mobile home, and we'd like to have permission to go in there and help out the family, and just try to,
Yes.
with all counseling is available.
I would claim, just to make sure that, you know, for that this is obviously an issue of public purpose on that matter, and of course an indigency standard for us to make that clarification and qualification on your end as the commissioner to make that claim. Is that correct?
As a matter of fact, I wanted to call it an emergency basis because the tree is still there and family is still living in there. Come on, let's do something constructive also.
Okay.
It's just that we're gonna go into the property. I want to make sure.
Correct. But for that purpose, then, and purpose of would you claim that on this matter, that for the purpose of it being a public purpose, and that for this being an indigent concern, that this individual cannot get that out? Is that correct? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion?
At the time.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Reese. Yes.
Yes, we're okay with the wording on the item, or do we need to state something just to be on the safe side?
So what I'm hearing is that there's some discussion in public planning. The county has the responsibility to provide for the support that it gives for county residents who can't support themselves.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Then it's up to the commissioner's court decision that y'all make that factual decision determination. That's y'all's decision.
Okay. Is there? But that's obviously been a fact that's been stated on the court's record. Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. Is there further clarification on this matter? No. There's a motion.
That's a motion.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Reese. Is there a second?
Second, Judge.
Second has been made by Commissioner Morales. Discussion. Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Moving forward to item number 38, discussion and appropriate action to approve resolution on illegal double tax on remittance. Commissioner?
Commissioners, and I have a resolution that I presented to your office, and this is in reference remittances. What is this about? This is a remittance of funds from the United States to Mexico as from immigrants that are working here in our country. Uh, and, and if I'll give some pointers that's in the resolution. I don't know if you have a copy of the resolution.
Yes.
Is there?
Well, what you provided to me
Is it? Is it
was
there?
this was placed on the back of correct.
Well, the point is that a person who is an immigrant and sends money to his family to Mexico, they do that regularly, and with the new uh, bill that is put down by the President of the United States, it's called One Big Beautiful Bill. They're trying to place a tax on those funds that are going to Mexico, a tax of 3.5% on all the remittances that go to Mexico. Uh, and you know, and it's a bunch of money if you realize that immigrant workers contribute 120 billion annually in the United States taxes. They don't already pay their taxes, and uh, the remittances are critical means to cover the basic necessity of their families as far as helping out with food for education and healthcare, and also with the help of the um, our local representative or our local uh, person who is helping out with the Mexico or Mexican person in Eagle Pass. It's the point also that remittances can lead to spending power to families in Mexico, which in turn can boost the local border economy. Our local economy can also be helped with the funds that they because they do shop in this on this area on the border period. And removing of taxes on remittances can lower prices for consumers, increase cross-border trade, and establish a fair marketplace. So the resolution, in essence, is saying that the tax, the 3.5 tax on remittances from the United States to Mexico, is going to hurt those families too. That they're already those people that are working here in the United States, they're already paying their taxes when in their consumption of goods and services. And at the same time, the point is that they're still working on this bill, and we want to send this resolution to our two United States senators, of course, from Texas, uh, and so that they all take some action and work against this particular tax that it'll be quite a burden on the families of the people that are already working here in the United States. And that's a resolution on remittances that I'd like for Commissioner's Court to vote uh, in favor of sending this particular idea, this resolution against the tax of the remittances.
Is there a motion?
That would be my motion. Sir.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Reese. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion.
That's Mr. Reese to eliminate that tax. We'll send this to the senators and then
Well,
they try to
it's not being approved.
Yet.
It's not approved yet, but they're working on it.
in
Yeah,
support of eliminating that.
Against, yes,
Okay.
yes.
On the bill.
On the bill. Great.
On that section of the bill, section 112105.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Well, and of course, if it has not been approved yet, can we move on this resolution?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is basically it would be submitted to both senators,
For us.
both state senators.
To support.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. If there is no further discussion on the item, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Moving forward to item number 39, discussion and appropriate action to approve 321 discount for the Maverick County taxpayers. Commissioner?
Yes, Judge. I'm bringing this item. Some years back, we were doing the 321 discount, and I want to see if Mr. Montemayor has a presentation for us. If he could And if the court means we could bring this back and have some savings for our local taxpayers. I know that there's some difficult times going on, and I think anything that we can help them with, if it's within our right and power, we should do that. So Mr. Montemayor has some more.
Good afternoon, Judge and Commissioners. My name is Ruben Montemayor, Tax Assessor Collector. And first of all, personally, I want to thank Commissioner Morales for sponsoring this item. The proposal for the 321 Property Tax Discount Program for the upcoming tax year is under consideration. This program provides a 3% discount for taxpayers for the month of October, a 2% discount for the month of November, and a 1% discount for the month of December. The program requires full payment with no partial payment to qualify for this discount. This discount benefits our taxpayers, especially our senior citizens and our disabled veterans, by encouraging timely payments, which leads them to save money. The county also benefits from a more consistent cash flow of tax revenue earlier in the fiscal year, and I feel it is a valuable incentive for the whole community. I don't have the supporting data on the 321 program success from previous years because our last tax assessor collector did not support this program. But I don't know how much money was it raised or how many families benefit from this, and how much discount was granted during that period. But what I do know, commissioners, is that the benefits that the 321 program would have for this county. And just for the record, I mean, I spoke to Councilman Elias Diaz. He is also bringing this item for consideration for the city for this coming fiscal year. So we'll probably be on the same page, the city and the county having this 321 programs for our county. The benefits for having the 321 program is like you'll be helping families stay in their homes. You're helping senior citizens and disabled veterans who are in a fixed income. You are encouraging prompt payments to avoid penalties and interest. You're giving the county taxpayers an incentive. And you're getting a faster county cash flow and overflow for financial stability. And I provided just one simple sheet for you where it states when the last time that the 321 program was in place for the year 2022, just for 1 month itself, which was the month of October, they collected 6,562,289. Compared to last year, 2024, for the month of October, they only collected 2,026,000, which is, we're talking 4 million here in 1 month, which is money that the county already has in the bank, and you can use it for many things that you want. We don't have to wait for many months to get the whole amount of taxes that we have, because in that same year, for the 2022, just for the tax season, which was October to January, or for the whole fiscal year, with the discount, it was 16,454,000, and for the 2024, which was last year, was 17,790,000. And yes, you see like $1 million difference, but that is because.
All right, Mr. Montemayor, repeat that, please. What you're saying?
I don't have those numbers for you, but I just.
But you're saying 16 million. Where are you getting the 16 million
that
from?
Was in the 2022. I didn't provide these numbers to you.
The 16, sorry, Karen, from the accountant at the tax office. The 16 million that he's getting is what's collected for the month of the 3% from October, November, December, and January.
So those are 3 months that are being collected.
That were collected was
okay.
16 million.
With the discount.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then you come forth and we look at the 2024, and that was a collection of the 17,790,893, and that's to take into consideration the tax rate at that particular year in 2022, and we also have to take into consideration the values of the properties that did go up throughout the next few years. So that's where you see a major difference.
Okay, so let me refresh my memory here, because I believe that you were here with the prior tax collector. If I recall correctly, the reasoning obviously for the higher rate of money that came in was because the majority of what came in was specifically from mortgage companies. They were taking advantage of the 3%.
Well, the mortgage companies do take advantage of the 3%, but you have to understand that we are the taxpayers and we pay the mortgage.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, at the overall, and I'm not asking for the perspective. I'm asking for what is the rate that is being paid or the percentage. The mortgage company is still collecting what is specifically to the amount of what it is a set. As a mortgage payer and as an individual who's paying a mortgage, you have a set rate based on what that is for the next amount of years. So it's not going to discount your rate as a mortgage payer if you are actually taking a 3-2-1 payment. The mortgage company is the one benefiting from that, not the taxpayer. So let me clarify that. And the only issue is that, as from what I saw from the last time, was that we were seeing the greater difference. There's going to be a greater difference, and I completely see it because based on what was presented. And I think that when we saw that the rate that was being done from the actual taxpayer that was coming in to make that payment, we were looking at a little over probably 280,000 that was from anyone outside of a mortgage company payment that was coming in. That was what the county was pretty much, let's say, losing out on, about 280,000. I'm perfectly fine with it. But know that when it comes down to the budget, we're going to have to make adjustments, especially when we have a lot of the requests or how we can kind of come together to make sure that we can trim what are those necessary amounts. I'm all for it. The question at the end of the day is going to be how can we trim the budget to meet those amounts to make sure that we're keeping in turn. I mean, we just have right now the insurance matters that we're having to deal with. We have a lot that we have to consume on. But I think that together as a team, as a board, we can come up with the best possible action for that matter. So with that, I'm glad, Mr. Montemayor, that you were able to get these numbers for us tentatively. And I know that I have a report from the previous tax collector that provided that document to the court as well.
Was there any data about how many mortgages were? Because I mean, we don't have a lot of mortgages companies taking advantage of this. I mean, I brought this. I brought this to Commissioner's Court because I mean, the few months that I've been there, that's the biggest concern that our seniors and basically our seniors have on this 3-2-1.
Like I said, it's not an issue where we have an issue with the court. My issue is just making sure that whatever it is on that discount, because we're the only taxing entity that we have this now. The city's willing to do that. Great. I'm glad to see that the city's willing to do it. But the county, I think, is that we're in a different financial position to where we need to just make sure that we're going to be able to adjust to that. Like I said, not opposed to it. Completely in agreement with moving forward with something, as long as together as a court, we can make the necessary budget amendments once we're in the budget process. I mean, we're already starting it. But I think, Mr. Montemayor, if we can continue this conversation. I believe that I had asked you for some information and some projections that should have been in my office yesterday. And I think that if we can kind of get this going and moving forward, we can go ahead and review and maybe kind of come up with a plan of action between you and the item sponsor to kind of see how we can move forward in addressing the necessary budgetary savings.
Yes.
Commissioner?
Ever since the former judge Salcedo was here, I've opposed this particular movement. It's really not much of a break, but the ones that really benefit from this particular cut are the major companies. For instance, Conoco, the first day of October, if it goes through, they make their payment real quick, and we lose money. The month of October, November, December, we might get a shot, an injection of more funds. But still, those funds will be coming. You know, if a person is going to pay an X amount of taxes, he will pay those taxes. I will pay those taxes. You know, it's not that they're really saving the people that own many, I'm gonna say, landowners. Those are gonna really, they're gonna benefit. Those are gonna pay real quickly. I think everybody should pay the right money, tax money. The taxes are there. The county is not cutting taxes. We don't intend to increase taxes either. I mean, taxes will always be there. And lo and behold, the county is the one entity that give or at one time would give breaks like this. And the county is the one that needs the most funds. We're just talking about the fact that we're losing. I mean, we have to pay a lot of money for the medical problems that we have. And we're finding a very difficult time to find funds to pay for that. So we're going to cut income. Like the judge says, wait a minute. So people are not going to pay the taxes they're supposed to pay. And who's going to benefit? Well, they're going to benefit by taking just paying less money. The common Joe Blow in the street, they might save $30, $15, maybe $50, $100 at most. But the taxes, then we lose the taxes when we cut with this plan of action of rewarding. The three entities, or maybe four, the three entities in Maverick County, they don't have any breaks like this. They never have had it. Only the county. And the county is the one that's suffering the most with our funding. The economic situation of the county is hurting. Lo and behold, and I've been around, every time that we finish the fiscal year, we're scratching, trying to get some funds to pay our bills. And yes, it'll come the first month in October or November and December. The money will be here. But in the long run, the taxes are going to be less by the end of the fiscal year. The amount of taxes that we're going to be collecting, it's going to be less. The city doesn't have that. Okay? I'm sorry, but the city has never had something like that. The school district doesn't have it. Any tax breaks? If anybody gets the funds, it's the city with the bridges and the school district with federal funds. They got plenty of funds. They don't give any breaks. On the other hand, you got the county on the bottom of the barrel. Where do we direct our funds from? Property taxes, mostly. And if we cut the property taxes, I mean, how are we going to face our auditors that we cannot pay enough? Where are we going to get the funds to pay our bills? So that will be this cut, this break, and I'm sorry, but it's going to benefit the ones that have the most money. In this case, those property owners that have more than 3 or 4 properties, they're going to pay. And they're the ones that are going to benefit, trying to get rid of the bills very quickly. And the larger corporation, I always had Conoco Corporation because they are the ones who contribute the most taxes as far as I'm concerned to the county. And it's financially, I don't see it as a problem.
And while I can agree to a certain point, of course, and I understand the situation there, Commissioner, when it comes down to an individual, whether it's a few, whether it's a good number of individuals that actually do benefit from the program that are outside of a mortgage company, that are outside of a major company that are benefiting from it. 30, 50, $100, everything helps. That I'm not gonna debate. That definitely does assist when it comes to seniors and that nature. My only concern, kind of flies back to maybe there's ways that we can structure this a little bit better. So I may have some legal questions that we can ask for that purpose in order to kind of have this discussion. Because if we can get creative with this, I just need to kind of know how if there's something that I'm thinking here that we can kind of at least offer. But I would need to check to see the legality of that process. And if the court is amenable, I'd like to have that discussion with the attorney.
Yeah, definitely, Judge. I just want to add that when it comes to the as we stated, the mortgage company, they are the ones that take advantage of doing this 3-1. But year after year, when we have this discount in place, I would see that reflection of the 3% reflect on my escrow account. My escrow account would go up every year, and they would readjust my monthly payment because there was a savings there that was done by the county taxes. So when the mortgage company takes advantage and pays everything in a lump sum, that discount is reflected on the taxpayer that has a mortgage because they'll go and adjust their escrow account. So that benefit goes directly to them. On the other hand, when we say we're losing this money, I know we tried really hard in the last two budgets to keep the tax rate at the same level so that we wouldn't impact our taxpayers. But at that same time, our taxpayers got impacted because we have no control over the appraisal district. The values went up, so the taxes went up. I believe on last year's budget, we collected $190,000 more, and that was completely out of our control because we left our same tax rate. You were able to find a way to do and leave that tax rate the same, but yet we still collected $190,000 more from our county taxpayers. And I think we see that happening again. The appraisal district is going to come back, raise values, our taxes are going to go up for the county, and I think by providing something like this, we can benefit our residents. And I agree with you. You know, I have some legal questions as well. Okay.
And this is just an incentive program that, I mean, at the end of the day, you have the last word on voting in favor of that to help out the community because they're the ones that are going to benefit from it.
Yeah.
Every family from this.
You know, and I told the former county judge, I said, you know what? Is it that you really want to make an impact by to the citizens, to the voters, by saying, look, we're cutting your taxes? At what expense? At what expense? Look at your roads, our roads. You know, look at the help that we need. Look at the kind of equipment that we have in the Road and Bridge Department. We need the funds, all the funds that we can get. Even if we get them late, not early, but those taxes, people are going to pay their taxes, you know, because we all need to pay our taxes. They pay it to the county, or they pay it to the city, and they don't give the breaks. And the school district, they don't give them the breaks. I don't see why we should be giving a break. We need those funds readily. I'm against.
Well, I mean, like I said, Councilman Elias Diaz is bringing this item to the city.
Can we take action?
Yeah. So I think on the matter, we probably have some questions that we're probably going to have to discuss with the issue with attorney commissioner. So I'd like to at least have some questions answered before we can proceed on that issue. So with the indulgence of the court, we'll take this into executive session. Thank you, Mr. Yes.
Thank you.
Moving forward. Item number 40, discussion and appropriate action to accept a donation of $2,000 from Driscoll Health Plan from the Maverick County Back to School event. Commissioner?
Judge, you know, I brought this item a couple of months back. We finally received the check. Our plan is still in motion. You all once we approve this, you'll all be getting an invitation to participate in our event every year. It's already been deposited. The backup has been provided to the treasurer as well as to the auditor. Just to accept the donation.
That's your motion?
My motion.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Morales. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Being that
Yes. I have a question. Commissioner, how are we gonna spend this $2,000?
The auditors are assisting us in buying the backpacks because they would provide us every year with the actual backpacks. So now we're gonna go buy the backpacks. And I'm requesting, we're gonna be sending invites like we do every year. Whatever your office can do as well, as Rios, anybody that wants to participate in our event, they can take anything that's school supplies. You're more than welcome to participate and join us for this community event.
What is the event, Mr. Commissioner?
Let me get you the flyer.
August 7th, I think.
August 7th?
I believe. Or 8th. 7 or 8. I think I saw something.
We're just waiting on the date.
August the 7th, okay. 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And you'll be getting, like I said, an invite. We're just waiting for this to clear.
And this is being held at the Trade Center, correct?
Yes, we did get approval from the city about a month ago.
Very well. All right. With that being said, there's a motion and a second. Correct? Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 41, discussion and appropriate action to grant an exemption to the competitive bid process as authorized with Texas Government Code 26.204A4 and 10 to the newsgram for personal and professional services and work performed under the contract for community and economic development services. This is the exemption on the contracts that are being set forth for the media purposes. On that purpose, Mr. Gross, is there just any specific clarification for that? These are all the contracts that have been awarded. It's just an exemption on that matter, correct?
Yeah, I like the auditor tax plan also.
Very well.
Yes, on this one, that was the question we had previously, that it wasn't procured or that we didn't have any exemptions on. And then we also did have some questions on, like, a couple of words on the contract, but I don't know if those contracts have been revamped. But we're good with this.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
I'll take a second for the purpose of discussion.
Second has been made by Commissioner Reese. Discussion.
So would you explain to me again what is it that we need to do with all? But actually, there's a bunch of them.
Or
The purposes of the contract, Commissioner, the contracts that were set for specifically on the media purposes and the marketing contracts that were approved by the court. There just needs to be a clarification on the professional services exemption that needs to be done for the court to make that contract processed based on the request of the auditor and through state law.
yeah, basically on the code 2254, they list what falls under professional services. But then under here, it gives the commissioner's court the discretion to say what's professional and personal services. So this covers what we were wanting.
I'm asking you because a member of the news media was saying that they wanted to know exactly what is it that they want. The auditors, what is it that they need? And I thought that they already had some sort of a contract. There was never a contract signed.
Yes.
There was a contract. We just need to make sure that it's properly procured or exempt. So this is
So just for clarification, Commissioner, the same way that we've done in any other process when it's a professional service, based on those professional services, we do an exemption prior to that professional services. Based on the contracts, of course, that we have looked at on that matter, the request, of course, of the auditor was that we just go ahead and procure that purpose with this exemption to those contracts. The contracts have already been approved by the court.
Yes.
The auditor is just asking for that additional step, just for us to go ahead and proceed so that they can begin process on that. So everything is now in order.
That's all. That's all.
Yes, and this is part of the items that when we get audited at the end of the year, they look for all these things, that proper procurement was followed or proper exemptions were followed. So that's how we needed this.
If you want to chime in too. So under the County Purchasing Act, the concern the auditor's office had is that because of the threshold of the total value of services is reaching 50,000 or could go over 50,000,
oh,
you would have to bid that out typically. So we had discussions about relooking at the county purchasing policy, because the purchasing policy says one bidder per service for 50,000. And so to address those concerns going forward in the future, we'll look at saying if this is a service that many people can do, you put out an RFP or an RFQ, and then multiple people would respond, and the court just decide who it uses for that service. The other thing about these contracts, though, is that under Government Code 2051, the county is required to publish legal notice, and you have to do that with an official newspaper of general circulation. So that chapter also kind of controls here, because these news services, these newspapers, whoever, could be those newspapers that you're using to post legal notices. So that one, there's a little bit of a conflict, but this is to make sure that y'all are getting in compliance with the County Purchasing Act, is the way that they are interpreting. So this is, you're granting a discretionary exemption to the competitive bidding process for the contracts that you're already entered into, because that threshold of 50,000 is approaching. So this makes sure that if you do reach that threshold, you've already granted discretionary exemption.
But none of these contracts reach that threshold.
It's the total.
It's the total value. Yes.
Correct. And that's the concern she had, so we're making sure we don't legal compliance of continuing to contract with these companies.
So we're okay, we didn't have to advertise, we're okay the way we procured
If
this?
it's under 50,000.
If it's under
we're
50.
okay. But
Way
the
under.
way that she's interpreting it, which is one way of looking at it, 10%, that threshold for that one service, it's reaching $50,000. It's getting close to that. So before you reach that threshold, you would have to go through this process, or you would no longer be able to contract with them.
There is a motion and a second on the item. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand.
I guess so.
Unanimous. All right, we're going to take that action for these particular contracts on the necessary steps as well. Discussion appropriate action to grant the exemption of the competitive bid process for as authorized by the Texas Local Government Code 262-02484 and 10 to the Eagle Pass Business Journal for personal and professional services and work performed under the contract for community and economic development services. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second? Is there a second?
I don't know, Judge. I'll second it for the sake of discussion.
Second's been made by Commissioner Reese. Discussion?
Judge,
Yes.
they're all, when do these contracts become effective, or the contracts are already in?
They are in play.
Sure.
They're already in
Just
play?
rewording, adding specifics.
Yeah.
They're already in effect, right?
Mhm.
Was just to make sure they hit that threshold that you granted discretionary
Adding specifics for it.
services provided.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those unanimous. Item number 43, discussion and appropriate action to grant an exemption to the competitive bid process as authorized with Texas Local Government Code 262.024, A4, and 10 to La Rancherita del Aire for personal and professional services and work performed under a contract for community and economic development services. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Oh, the rancherita, yeah, second.
Second has been made by Commissioner Reese. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 44, discussion and appropriate action to exemption of the competitive bid process as authorized by the Texas Local Government Code 262.024A4 and 10 to Texas All Media for personal and professional services and work performed under the contract for community and economic development services. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
I'll second with this.
Second.
For discussion.
Second has been made by Commissioner Reese. Discussion?
Judge, who's
Yes.
Texas? That's not a.
Texas Media.
It's okay.
Zócalo.
The typo?
So, is there?
Is it?
No, they say Almeida, but it's
That's all media.
Yes.
It's all media.
Yeah.
For
We'll go ahead and just make for clarification on the purposes of the correction on that item. If we can recall those that motion in a second, just to make a correction on that it's supposed to be Texas All Media, which is MEDIA.
Right.
Is there a motion to correct the item and amend the item to correct that?
So moved, Judge.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios, second by Commissioner Reese. Discussion?
yes, sir. Who's on media? Texas on media.
Zócalo, sir.
Zócalo.
Gracias.
Thank you. Motion and second has been made. Is there any further discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion has been made to amend. Now is there a motion to go ahead and approve the item with it to read Texas All Media?
So moved, Judge.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Reese. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 45, discussion and appropriate action to grant an exemption to the competitive bid process as authorized with Texas Government Code 262.024A4 and 10 to Galeria News for professional services and work performed under the contract for community and economic development services. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios, second by Commissioner Reese. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 46, discussion and appropriate action to grant an exemption to the competitive bid process as authorized with the Texas Government Local Code or Texas Local Government Code 262.204A4 and 10 to the Eagle Pass News Leader for personal and professional services and work performed under the contract for community and economic development services. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Reese. Discussion. Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Unanimous. All right. Item number 47, discussion and appropriate action to grant an exemption to the competitive bid process as authorized by the Texas Government Local Government Code 262.024. A4 and 10 to selling forma for personal and professional services and work performed under contract for community and economic development services. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion has been made by
Second.
Commissioner Rios, second by Commissioner Reese. Discussion. Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 48, discussion and appropriate action to grant an exemption to the competitive bid process as authorized by the Texas Local Government Code 262.024, A4 and 10 to Interviewer Magazine for personal and professional services and performed under a contract for community and economic development services. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios, second by Commissioner Reese. Discussion. Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 49, discussion and appropriate action to grant an exemption to the competitive bid process and authorized by the Texas Local Government Code 262.024, A4 and 10 to Informate for personal and professional services and work performed under a contract for community and economic development services. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Reese. Discussion. Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 50, discussion and appropriate action to grant an exemption to the competitive bid process as authorized by the Texas Local Government Code 262.024, A4 and 10 to the La Pulguita for personal and professional services to work performed under contract for community and economic development services. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios, second by Commissioner Reese. Discussion. Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 51. Are there any items that are going into executive session on budget amendments that we're aware of? No? There's not, right? Not that I'm aware of. I don't believe that there's anything specific that we're looking at. Budget amendments. All right, let's take care of that. Budget amendments have been provided for your review. Are there any questions regarding the budget amendments as they're being presented at this time?
No, sir.
No? If there is none, is there a motion?
Moved.
Everything is within departmental budgets.
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios, second by Commissioner Reese. Discussion. Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. All right. Item treasurers. I'll be nice to y'all today. I'll take your items out of there on accounts payable. Accounts payable has been provided for your review. I do know that there's been some additions. Is that correct, Sylvia?
We did provide a third list.
Yes, I'm looking at that list right here. This is the list, and then this list here.
No. I believe that there's several lists. The third, there's the second and the third list. I don't know.
I have AP list 2. It's here in front of me. There's AP list, and then there's AP list 2. You all have AP list 2 in front of you? Yes, those are what this is what needs to be added on there. Is that correct? Yeah. You'll have that, and I'll read these out to you.
Okay. Then I have one additional request from Commissioner Ramos. We have a pending invoice.
For the text dot grant?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. And we just have to make sure that we name the vendor. The vendor, which is the Texas Department of Transportation, for invoice dated March 21st, 2025. This will be funded from Fund 463, and it's in the amount of $49,800.
Okay. All right, so based on that, we're looking at AP List 3 that has Cascos and Associates PC for the 2024 audit. Denton and Navarro Bernal, which is on AP List 3 and that has been provided to the court. This has been provided to the clerk, correct? Just for clarification.
No.
I just want to make sure that you'll provide her a copy on that. And then also, I know that there was a total of 2 additional ones that were being added on from Denton Navarro that were on there specifically set and I don't know if these add up specifically because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that are on there from Denton Navarro. They've been practically working for this county for free for a year. Um, and 2 that are pending that I know that we sent over that you so graciously added to the list today. And so that's going to be read in today, which they're not on here.
They're not on that
No.
list?
So I would just make sure that we have on there specifically that the amounts that are on there that are set have been for June 26, 2025. This was from the legal fund on that matter. This is Denton Navarro Rodriguez. It's a total amount of 6,041. And the second one from Denton Navarro would be for 12,194.34. Those were the amounts that were provided to you on that matter. The audit for Gascos and Associates after the full review of that amount would be coming out to 51,900. And just for purposes of the also the request, I know that we sent over that matter, and based on, of course, the consideration of you placing those for Denton Navarro for the review of those. I know that you would play nice today with us for that purpose, and I want to go ahead and play nice as well. So I will go ahead and just put that on this matter. We have also submitted the purposes for Vickery and Associates. There's, I think, been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 invoices that have been sent over. Invoice number 69162, 2,571.05. Invoice number 61241, 11,625.88. Invoice number 61718, 2,442.70. Invoice number 70707, that's 13,370. And invoice number 60153, 4,296.45. I would ask for the consideration of the court to place these items on accounts payable pending auditor's review.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you. And just if you can
You see,
mention,
I can play nice too.
I appreciate that. If you can just mention the fund.
And that,
which,
so those all have been identified specifically on the purchase orders that have been submitted to the office already. So that would be coming specifically from the fund on that matter. What is? Do we have that actual copy?
from the general.
Yep.
Okay. We'll review those.
All right. Very well. But at least so that we know that those, if once you have finalized that review, those can go out for accounts payable. Because I know that we've been waiting on those. How long? Probably about three months. Okay. All right. So I just want to make sure that, but in that process for the review on that issue, we need to go ahead and get that taken care of. So with that, those would be the only requests that I would make of the court's consideration to get those on accounts payable. Is there a consideration to approve that?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second? Not. Second has been made by Commissioner Grease. Discussion. Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Very well. All right. Accounts payable has been taken care of, and warrants pending. Questions on warrants pending? Not. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Grease. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Morales. Discussion. Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. All right. Audit treasurers, y'all are free to go. Okay. Y'all don't have to wait for us here. All right. With that being said, we're going to move into executive session. We are taking a couple of items into executive session. I will take into let me see, item number 52. Closed session, 55, this is going to be under 551.071, consultation with attorney. Commissioners Court will meet in closed session to seek the advice of its attorney about pending or contemplated legal litigation, settlement offers, or matters of which the duty of the attorney to Commissioners Court under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Item number 52-1, countywide public information request policy. Item 2, countywide vehicle policy and vehicle safety program. Item number 3, I'll be removing that until the next meeting for review. Item number 4 will be economic development amendment regarding Chapter 380 agreement with Eagle Hospitality Group. Item number 5, Project Blue Jay and Chapter 381 agreement. Item number 6, authorize county judge to negotiate agreements with other counties for inmate housing. Item number 7, MOU agreement between Webb County and Maverick County Sheriff's Office. Item number 8, MOU agreement between Kinney County and Maverick County Sheriff's Office. Item number 9, county's authority to provide cleaning and maintenance for flooding and drainage in creeks and canals for the in the following housing areas: Seco Creek, Elm Creek, Deer Run, and Barrera drainage canals. Item number 10, flatbed trailer used as bridge in a property on the Barrera Street. Item number 11, Maverick County Waterworks hauling water and water rates. Item number 12, property land agreement of Maverick County Waterworks intake pumps location. And I'll just ask for an amendment on item number 6. This would be to consider the authorization of the county judge and sheriff to negotiate. If the court would be considerate to amend that item prior to us going into executive session. Is there a motion? Motion is going to be made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second, Judge.
Second by Commissioner Morales. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Let that record reflect that it is now to authorize county judge and sheriff to negotiate agreements with other counties for inmate services. Those are the items that are going in from executive session. We also have items number 39, discussion and appropriate action to approve the 321 discount for Maverick County taxpayers. Item number 33, discussion and appropriate action to ratify and approve Texas Parks and Wildlife Program Director Carlos Herrera the third, $24 an hour. Counselors Norma Negrete, $22 an hour, and Jennifer Perez, $18 an hour as temporary employees through the Community Outdoor Outreach Program starting May 28th, 2025. Item number 9, I'm sorry. Item number 36 is an executive session, discussion and appropriate action in regards to jurisdiction of the water lines infrastructure at the radar-based homes. Do we have any other items that we're going to?
No. I think that was
Number 9, discussion. Now I believe the speed bumps. Were you requesting anything on that one? No, we've already given action on that. Okay. All right. If there is nothing further, then there's no other items, right? That you have? No. Nobody else had any other items? Yes.
And I guess Commissioner Ramos wanted to withdraw the Maverick County Waterworks hauling water and water rates.
yeah, you already withdrew that one, right, Judge?
The water rates?
Yes.
She's asking to withdraw that?
Yes.
Okay. So the request there of the commissioner and to her staff, they will be withdrawing that item. All right, very well. We'll go ahead and proceed. We'll move into executive session on Thursday, June 26, 2025 at 2:52 p.m. Thank you all.